Hello, dear friends. My name is Sofia Dorinskaya. I'm a doctor and the head of the Center for Medical Information. Today, I want to talk to you again about eating meat because I am once again receiving a lot of questions. I can't say that I remember recording such a video, although it seems to me that I have already explained in many different ways to everyone why it is necessary to eat meat. The previous videos I recorded today were about how you need to restrain yourself. So to speak, the exacerbation of this respiratory infection. If a person did get infected, yes, these catarrhal symptoms. There I said that you need to eat meat. And again, people ask me why meat, why and how. Actually, why meat? Why can't anything else replace meat in a person's diet? Why don't vitamins work if a person has a deficiency of meat in their diet? Yes, our digestive systems, our metabolic processes, the metabolic processes themselves are all about obtaining external nutrition, the gastrointestinal tract. Then these proteins, the external proteins that it receives, are broken down into their component amino acids, and then from this set of amino acids obtained from outside, the body combines them to make our own body proteins. This is the process of breaking down and building up our own body proteins. And vitamins are catalysts. Vitamins are an essential part of these processes, but the processes themselves are the processes of protein transformation. Therefore, if you have a deficiency of meat in your diet and you just take vitamins, then these vitamins have nothing to work with. And these vitamins are simply washed out of the body. They have absolutely no use in the body. If I can put it that way, You need to eat meat. Why? Because it's specifically from meat, specifically the breakdown of meat into its component amino acids, and then from those, the body builds its own proteins. This is the most easily accessible process for the human body. No proteins from plant foods are obtained by the human body as easily. The amount of meat that the body can get from 150 grams of meat, and the effort that the body has to make. They are nothing compared to getting the same amount of nutrition, for example, from nuts. The human body is designed in such a way that it is extremely difficult for it to get protein from plant-based foods. Therefore, the shortest way to feed your body, the easiest and most efficient for the body, is a meat-based diet. Moreover, very often people who neglect a meat-based diet, not only for this reason, but also because of this. Very often these people have a lack of enzymes. This is another name for vitamin deficiencies. A lack of enzymes means the absence of enzymes, and therefore, in this situation, obtaining these nutrients for the body becomes almost impossible. Moreover, our practice, and we've been working for 10 years now, using our own method to eliminate deficiencies, and thousands of people have already gone through these programs. Our practice shows that people who give up meat, people who do not maintain the necessary amount of meat, have a very hard time overcoming their deficiencies, and for vegans, they are almost never overcome. When we talk about vegans, at the first stage, meaning just the beginning of the program, something gets a little better for them somewhere, and then it starts. Here I have colitis. Here I feel pressure. Here I have some other unpleasant situations that weren't there at all before. There are no people who eat meat, meaning they simply don't exist at all. Exactly because the body is already starting. When we begin to eliminate its deficiencies, the body already demands this substrate. It needs proteins so that it's easy. He suddenly realized that he could get out of this nosedive, out of this self-destruction. The body begins demanding nutrition from its owner. But the owner, so to speak, influenced by strange ideas about how to live properly, doesn't give it to him. The owner, the body doesn't get meat-based nutrition. And here, of course, problems start to arise. Uncomfortable situations. And all of this just turns into this endless cycle. I don't eat meat. You need to eat meat. I have these symptoms. Those symptoms are because you're not eating properly. That's exactly why, at a certain point a few years ago, we simply stopped fixing deficiencies for people on a vegan diet. Well, because it's just a waste of our time, your money, and there's no benefit from it. And we like to be efficient. We like to be, actually, I really love writing final recommendations for discharge. When a person is all set, when they've overcome their deficits, and they're having their final follow-up, that's honestly a great happiness for me. And I have to say, the people whose deficits we help eliminate, about 98% of them, have resolved everything, and they don't come back anymore, which means everything is good. There are situations when something else needs to be finished. The person lived there for a year or a year and a half. It happens. But everything gets cleaned up very quickly there. So, some problem in the body showed up again. But that's it. The base issue has been resolved. So after that, it's just one or two tests, and those are basically the last problems, and they go away. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Meat-based diet. A person should eat meat. Children should eat enough meat. And thinking that children should be given less meat. This is extremely wrong, because a child not only needs to meet all their immediate needs, but they also have the task of growing. Therefore, their nutrition should be even better, and, in some cases, even more than that of an adult. And sometimes they need meat, especially if the child leads an active lifestyle, if they play sports, or if they live in harsh conditions such as heat or cold. So of course, you really need to take all of that into account. I hope I answered the question about why you need to eat meat once again. Why don't vitamins work on their own? Because the process itself follows. It's the process of converting protein A. Vitamins are participants in this process. They are essential participants in this process. And if you lack vitamins, you'll have a defective transformation chain. But if you have vitamins and you don't have meat, you simply won't have this chain at all. That's all. Basically, it's pretty hard to get lost here. I would say, thank you very much for your attention. If you need our help in addressing any deficiencies, please come to us. For one simple reason. In the overwhelming majority of cases, this only needs to be done once in a lifetime. After that, we give you a maintenance plan and say goodbye to you until next time. We wish you a safe journey and good health. Thank you for your attention. All the best. Goodbye. To be continued.